Well, for more on U.S.-Japan relations, I'm joined by Ralph Winnie, Director of Global Business Development at the Eurasian Business Coalition's China program. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. 新年快乐，恭喜发财.
Now, we know that there'll be the White House visit. There'll also be the Gulf in Florida. So, as we look at the whole picture, what sort of expectations are there for this visit?
Well, I think it's important. Abe has made it very clear. What he wants to do is establish a close personal relationship with Trump to have an influence on U.S. policy in Asia, because the Japanese are deeply concerned about the U.S. relationship with China, North Korea, what that means for U.S.-Japanese relations. They're also deeply concerned about what Trump's attitudes are toward China, because Japanese are concerned that U.S. might sign a trade deal with China that leaves Japan out in the cold. So Abe's desire is to forge that close personal relationship with Trump, deflect concerns away from trade issues and the cost of the U.S. military presence in Japan, and to focus on the U.S.-Japan relations based on politics, economy, and security.
So then how much should we read into this meeting then in terms of Trump's future relationship with the Asian region?
Well, I think if you look at the symbolism of Gulf, it's very important in Japan. And that goes back to the late 50s, where Eisenhower and Abe's grandfather met. And it was considered to be a triumph of diplomacy, bringing the two former World War II adversaries together. And what the Japanese are saying is, okay, we're going to invest X amount of dollars into your economy, but you have to have our back. You have to protect us from expanding role of China, North Korea, and also any incursions that might occur in the South China Sea. So the Japanese have a stated presence.
Now, Ralph, as you mentioned investment there, we know that Abe is also bringing this huge investment package with him. How common is that, though, when it comes to a very first meeting with a new president?
Well, I think Trump has sort of changed the ballgame. I mean, once Trump was sworn in as president, he started meeting with CEOs and labor leaders to forge a working coalition with business and labor, and to show the world that the U.S. was ready for business. So the idea was to promote jobs and economic security. That's what Trump ran on. And now Abe recognizes how important it is for this $450 billion investment to help promote infrastructure in the United States. But at the same time, Abe wants that guarantee that the U.S. is going to have Japan's back in the Asian region. Especially since the U.S. now has pulled out a Trans-Pacific Partnership, and that's enraged a lot of Japanese who feel that Japan is at a disadvantage compared to China.
And we certainly heard that from some of the comments earlier. So if you're in Japan, what are you thinking in terms of what Trump is bringing to the table? Is it enough?
I think people in Japan are concerned that Trump is not going to necessarily be a strong ally. They're concerned about whether Trump is going to sign a deal with China that is adverse to Japan's interests. They're also concerned about the fact that Trump has pushed the fact that Japan has devalued their currency. And while that issue is on the table, Abe is trying to push that off to the G8. And he's also trying to focus the attention away to the infrastructure development, hoping that that's going to make Trump happy and will not push so hard on Japan to really revalue their currency, even though the U.S. is considered to be at a disadvantage.
Now, Ralph, I do also want to get to the business environment. We know that Abe is set to meet some of the CEOs at the chamber. What do American CEOs want from this?
Well, they want to be able to enter the Japanese market. It's, as you know, a very tough market to enter into, but once you get in, it's very profitable. At the same time, these CEOs want their companies to be able to get the contracts that will arise from this infrastructure development spending. I think one of the interesting areas is going to be Los Angeles. They are bidding for the 2024 games. I think Trump is going to try and use this as an opportunity to promote their bid very quietly. And at the same time, LA is going to want some of that infrastructure money to develop, the infrastructure that's going to be needed to put on a very successful games. So this is sort of something that is not talked about, but certainly I think is on the agenda.
Well, we'll certainly see between golf and what happens at the White House, how it all plays out. Thank you so much, as always, Ralph Winnie, Director of Global Business Development at the Eurasian Business Coalition's China Program.